Castlevania The Adventure was the first portable entry in Konami's flagship series. Released in 1989 on the original Game Boy, it was met with lukewarm reception. Most of the criticism revolved around the game's sluggish platforming, technical issues, and the neglect of certain core elements of past Castlevania games, such as the ability to use sub-weapons. Being regarded as one of the least popular games in the series, what better entry to receive a second chance at a new life? Well, that is exactly what Konami did in 2009 with Castlevania The Adventure ReBirth. During the days when the WiiWare shop was still alive, developer M2 released remakes of 3 classic Konami games under the banner ReBirth. This included Gradius, Contra, and of course, Castlevania The Adventure. All the games in the ReBirth series got a complete overhaul in terms of visuals and music, as well as an improvement on the core gameplay elements of the original games. In terms of Castlevania The Adventure, a bare-bones Game Boy game, it definitely benefited the most from these upgrades. Just like the original game, there wasn't much to the story. Christopher Belmont, the ancestor of Simon Belmont from the first 2 Castlevania games, has brought his family's legendary weapon to once again take down Dracula. Just as you'd come to expect, the game has you whipping through monsters, dodging traps, and of course, slaying bosses. While the levels don't look much like their older counterparts, they were greatly expanded upon, adding 2 more stages from the original 4. Each stage was a lot more open, with locked doors and secrets tucked throughout. Of course, with more space means more monsters, and luckily this game added dozens more. A lot of them were pulled from other entries in the series, but the core monsters from the Game Boy version did make their return. Each stage had 2 bosses instead of 1, with the majority of them being recognized staples from the series. Some of the handheld's original core elements were retained, such as the level time limits and the ability to shoot fireballs once you'd power up your whip. Other elements were changed, such as removing the ropes you'd use to go through floors and replacing them with the series' well-known staircases. And of course, let's not forget the return of the classic sub-weapon system. The controls were also improved quite a bit, giving the player more precise and responsive inputs, paving the way for a much smoother gameplay experience. Sorry, Christopher, no more baby stepping through these levels. As you can see, the animations were definitely the highlight of the game, with lots of little details sprinkled throughout each level. From great monster and boss designs to gorgeous backdrops with the clouds moving past the vibrant full moon that peeks through the window, the game hits you with all the nostalgic awe you could possibly want. Even the animation for Christopher Belmont looks cool, almost as if he's made out of clay. Another great upgrade was the game's soundtrack. While instead of updating the music from the original, the soundtrack remixed songs from other lesser-known Castlevania games. The music was one point of high regard by most reviewers, and personally, I think the soundtrack is banging. Having just played through ReBirth, I can say that the game doesn't feel much like a remake. Mostly due to the fact that it adds so much extra stuff from other parts of the series that the elements of the Game Boy game are sort of drowned out. Konami could have easily put on a whole new title and claimed it as a completely different game, and no one would have noticed. But what I honestly love about ReBirth is that it's more of a love note to the classic tradition of Castlevania games. After Symphony of the Night, Castlevania pretty much stuck to the Metroidvania style, and this boiled it back down to the classic tradition, being the last game in the series to actually do so. The game has some beautiful animations and great sound design that instill tons of nostalgia. It retains the difficulty of its predecessors without feeling cheap or due to some terrible control scheme. While maybe not the best or most original of the classic style, it's still one that I thoroughly enjoyed playing. It's sad that this game is currently lost due to the WiiWare shutdown. As of right now, the only way to play this game is to try to find an emulator somewhere. We can always pray for a re-release, which, knowing Konami, is not very likely. But it would be nice if they could do a ReBirth collection and release the trilogy of these cool, forgotten remakes. Until then, only time will tell. Thank you for watching my video, and I hope you stay tuned for more retro goodness here on RustPromoter.